What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Walk-Ins Welcome with Nick and Michael. I'm Nick. That's Michael.
Yes, that's me.
What's up, man?
And we're down low.
We are. We've shrunk.
We
Or
did shrink.
I don't know. So I got to tell you, man, those are like the chairs look good. They got the nice little brown fabric, leatherette, whatever, and the saddle looking thing. But God, they were so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like not even most of my butt cheek would fit on that thing. There's no nice way to say
It's
it.
a classic. It looked nice.
It does. I mean, it's still
like it. Material's okay, but yeah, not comfortable.
It's the perfect size for like a 10-year-old child. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
like part of my leg will fit on that chair. Anyway, we've lowered it down. We're excited to be with you today. As always, we're here to help you get more patients, deliver better care, get repeat visits, and scale. One of the things that I wanted to talk about today, Michael. Well, first of all, before I tell you the name of the episode, let me rewind and tell you how I came to the title of the episode. I was having a conversation with an urgent care clinic, and it's been a while now, but I just remember the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember he kept saying like how frustrated it was that he had to pay to be on TV, or that he had to pay to run ads on Facebook, Instagram, how he was frustrated that he had to pay Google to run ads on Google. And I, for just a second, I mean, I just stopped and I said, why do you think you should be able to do those things for free?
Yeah, exactly.
Like why do you think someone else should be able to create a platform and you not pay to access it?
Right.
So I'm going to pose that question
You're like, come
to
on.
the audience. Why do you think advertising should be free?
Well, to me, I think about how the internet has made things free over time, right? It's like
Kinda.
right. Well,
It's like heroin. They gave you that first dose for free, and then they knew they were going to charge you.
and now we have
for it.
streaming services that we pay a fortune for.
Yeah.
But no, like I guess it's because I know where this episode's going, but the idea of, well, if we didn't charge, like I know us, like we'll take TV commercials,
Right.
Well, what's stopping from everybody being on there, right? And then what's stopping, someone being on there forever? Like we joke about how Alexander Shannara owns the billboard world in at least Alabama.
He's an attorney, by the way.
He's an attorney.
For those listening outside of the state of Alabama, Tennessee, Arkansas.
Yeah. So for in Alabama, like he has a bill. He actually has a deal where he pays for a billboard that doesn't have a slot already.
Right.
And so he pays for
unused inventory.
Yeah, he pays for unused inventory at a discounted rate, and it's a great deal. I'm sure he's paid more over the years, but he's paying for it. They didn't just like give it to you. I even had an interesting conversation with a legacy client where they asked me to remove a vendor logo off of their site because they said, hey, every single space on that site is considered advertising, and I don't want to waste my dollars on their logo that they're not paying for.
Right.
And I was like, that makes total sense. Like, I don't even think about that, because sometimes, like, yeah, sure, we'll put logos of manufacturers or partners that we like or in the world. But then now I'm like, okay, yeah, they didn't actually pay for that. We do have traffic coming to these sites. Like, that is free. That's free advertising, but it's costing somebody something.
Well, the thing is all of these different platforms, they built an audience for you to tap into.
Yeah.
Right. And they took the time, they paid for the buildings, they paid for the team, they paid for the employees.
It's like radios. That radio station didn't exist at some point.
Fun story, man. I used to get so aggravated. I used to sell radio advertising.
Right.
You knew that.
Mm-hmm.
And I sold for a talk radio station. And these people would pay thousands of dollars for a 60-second ad to run on the show. And then like thousands of dollars. And then they would allow some random redneck, probably drunk person call up to the radio station and spend 10 minutes just yapping about nothing. And I'm going, you charge my client a fortune to be on there just to say this is a moving company.
Yeah.
And then you just let that dude rattle off for endless amounts of time on the radio. It's just unbelievable to me how that works, but that's another story. Again, not my station. So what I wanted to do was to convince the audience that, and we even have it on our wall in our conference room, that good advertising is actually free.
Yes.
Good advertising is free.
So much so free, it actually pays you back.
That's right. It's I want to flip it on its head a little bit and just talk through that today, because I think most of our clinics think about paid advertising the wrong way. They think of it as an expense. And we know this because when things get hard, y'all typically cut the marketing budget.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to
you'll drop ad spend, or you'll drop a service or whatever. It is. I've never fully understood the mindset behind that. Like I guess I understand if traditional marketing, because it's sometimes very difficult to tie that customer or patient to that billboard or that radio.
Right.
Like I get that. But with digital, no, we get pretty close. So like, yeah, that was generated through us. Like we're very confident in that type of thing. So like in my world, I'm like, why do you cut things that you already know you're seeing return on? We even have client, like, cause our ad spend on our clients ranges dramatically.
Right.
I'm actually to the point, I'm kind of curious when are we going to get that magic urgent care? That's like, all right, once y'all get me down to that $10 to $15 conversion rate that y'all keep chatting about, I want to give you every single dollar I got.
That would be what I would consider wisdom.
Well, because you think about it, right? Because we even tell people there is diminishing returns. Like at some point, you're caught.
You run out of intent,
right? Because there's only so many people. Now, I will say, urgent cares do have the benefit that you guys have lots of intent around your service. Like people are always sick, they're always looking for health care, and so the likelihood of you running out of you're outspending what the intent is, like, it's pretty low. I mean, it happens, but most of the time it doesn't. And so I'd love to like have that magic person to say, all right, y'all have consistently done this. Let's spend as much as you can and see what happens.
Right.
Can I handle the actual, because in my head, could you, because we always say is, if I get to the point where I put $1 in and $2 comes back, how many dollars?
How many dollars are you going to put in?
How many dollars am I going to put in here?
Yeah.
And we even experiment with ourselves. Like we're running some Facebook ads right now for ourselves, and we're seeing some returns. So we're like,
yeah, thank y'all for that.
Yeah, thank you. We do appreciate this, and we're seeing some returns. So we're seeing like, okay, let's see if it's consistent. Let's get an actual number tied to how much it costs to get that person to talk to us.
Right.
How much can we throw in there, see what happens? So
yeah, exactly.
It's a tough mindset sometimes, because like that's a lot of dollars going out, but at the same time, if you have the depth behind it, it should come right back to you very quickly.
Right.
So
well, let's go back to advertising having a cost or advertising being free. You're going to pay a price either way.
Yes.
You're going to pay the platforms to run your ads and get new patients, or you're going to pay the price of lost revenue.
Yeah.
You choose.
Yeah.
Congratulations. You have a choice.
Well, it's that classic, I want to grow 20% this year. What are you going to do different? Nothing.
Yeah. I mean,
why would you grow?
Exactly. So, I mean, let's just say that I can spend $1,000. Well, let's just use the math that I put down in here in the first place. Let's say that I can put $2,000 in and I can run ads on, we'll just use Google ads because that's the most lucrative for us, right? We're going to spend $2,000 and we're going to get 30 patients booked for that $2,000 at $150 of value per patient. That's $4,500. So you made a net $2,500 profit off of that.
Right.
And even after you pay all of your staff, you're still making a profit off of that, right? The other option is to not spend that $2,000. Okay, great. You're not spending $2,000. And then you don't get those 30 patients that are at $150 each. So not only did you not spend that $2,000, you lost $4,500. Like you lost $2,500.
Yep.
So you can either pay the $2,000 and get the $2,500 in profit, or you can not pay it and you can lose $2,500 in missed opportunity. And
then the part you can't see is the returning customer.
That's right.
Because the returning patient is basically the extra pure profit at that point, right? Because you got them in once, you had a fantastic experience for them, and they're going to keep coming back.
Well, let's just think for a second that you have a front desk person, and that front desk person's their job is to make sure that when a phone call comes in, that they're turning it into a patient coming through the door.
Well, that's hopefully what they're supposed to do.
That's what I'm just saying, like that's in a perfect world, that's the goal, is to have that front desk. Hey, I'd like to schedule an appointment, or hey, I'm feeling sick. Great, let's get you in. We can see you at this time or this time. I think you need to think of your Google ads as your hardest working employee.
Yes.
Like you're thinking of it as an expense on a line item, but if you really think about it, it is your hardest working employee that doesn't talk back.
Well, I can't.
I guess I can at times. Like you can get mad, but what I'm saying though is these are the type of dollars you want to spend to grow your business, and it doesn't get sick. Yep. I mean, I guess sometimes it goes down, but it's got its moments.
It gets sick when your credit card gets sick.
What I like so much about that though is that's an employee that you can scale.
Yeah.
Like it's not going anywhere anytime soon anyway. And it's scalable, just like you were talking about earlier. If I put $1 in and I can get $2 to $3 back out, well, once I understand what that is, then I can grow it and I can scale it based on the search volume. So we talked a little bit about ROI, but free marketing isn't really free. All right. So SEO and social media still require time. They still require staff and they still require energy
and skill.
We've got a mutual acquaintance that we've networked with for a long, long time named Dennis Yu.
Oh yeah.
And he put out a video not too long ago that really resonated with me and I liked it. It's like SEO, search engine optimization. That is a result of you doing things.
Yes.
Yeah, like you're not doing SEO. SEO is the result. Search engine optimization is the result of you putting out good content. It is the result of you getting things accurate across all of the
result
internet.
of connecting all your pages the way they should be connected, removing things that you should remove.
It's the result of getting good reviews.
Yeah.
And you're being rewarded on the search engines because you're gathering reviews and you're responding to them properly.
Yeah. And you're outpacing it's the reward of outpacing your competitors.
That's right.
And getting more foot traffic in the door, like all the things.
Yeah.
But yeah, SEO is one of those labors of love because it's very hard to quantify it sometimes because like with
you can if you track it.
Yeah, you can. Because at the end of the day, if you may, I think we all agree, like one of the challenging parts with SEO is you may spend 2 hours on something SEO related and it does nothing.
That's right.
And you may spend 10 minutes on something SEO related and it makes all the difference.
That's right. That's right.
A good example is Google Search Console.
Oh yeah. Seriously. I think one of our team members, Izzy, just went through and was making sure that all of our Google Search Consoles were connected correctly.
Yeah, because they like to disconnect themselves.
Yeah, they do. From other softwares. There's no doubt about that. There's a cost to doing it yourself, right? And that's not a bad cost. I think you should, I would call that cost. I would call that an investment in education so that you can get a better return on your marketing later.
Yeah,
you've heard me talk about this in our webinars.
Yeah, like just asking the better questions, recognizing what you should do, even if you hire somebody to do it. How can you participate to improve it itself? Because I think like our industry is horrible about smoke and mirrors,
right?
Where they say they do one, like we say we do SEO for this much money, and we do all these things. And then we said, well, these people offered it for $300 a month. So like, well, go have fun because it's not going to work.
Yeah, I was going to say it cost physically, like dollars cost more to do that than anything. Wakey.
I know.
But going out there and investing your time to understand Google Ads, reporting, understand Facebook, social media, and how it works, as a doctor or even the marketer at your clinic. It makes sense for you to do that for a season. But the whole point is to get an education so that you can hand that off so that you can maximize those dollars. And that's either handing it off to an in-house person or handing it off to an agency like us. I like it when I can have a conversation around Google Ads and SEO and Facebook and all of that with a competent clinician in that area. Well, I know you're competent. I mean in that area. You know what I mean?
But no, I get it because we have a lot of some of our clients that give us feedback, like legitimate feedback, not this is good or this is bad, but like, hey, here's some things that we're doing. Can we try this instead? Sure. We're very open to ideas and just tell us something that makes sense or doesn't make sense.
Right.
And so, because I do think we have clients that won't talk to us and we're flying blind slightly and we think things are great. Then they finally talk to us and they're not. We're like, well, you haven't told us anything for 6 months. What do you expect?
Well, I mean, now, a lot of times they don't understand what they're seeing either.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
It's been our experience so far that the ones that have a good understanding, that not perfect, but just a good understanding of digital marketing and how it works, they're the ones who like working with us the most.
Yeah.
They're the ones who really see the value because they can be like, okay, I actually see that you guys are doing stuff.
Yeah, I was like, we've had a couple like they actually look at their Google Ads and look at things going on. They can say, oh, y'all are actually touching these accounts more than once a month, right?
I mean, we're touching them daily.
Yeah, and but it's amazing what the standards are out there.
Yeah,
but no, like I think I still wish I understood where it comes from on the idea of if we're losing money or whatever. Let's cut marketing and just
Right.
because at the end of the day, to make money, you got to have customers.
That's right.
And if you're cutting one of the things that you can recognize could get you customers and you're removing it, you're not really moving the needle. You're just changing the gauge at that point.
Well, so can we have a moment of like full disclosure and realness on the podcast?
Yeah.
We've lost a lot of money this year.
Yes.
We've had it's been crazy. And
this has been a brutal Q1.
It's been a brutal Q1, and it's for weird things. Like we have one client that got really interested in private equity, and so they decided to stop services with us to go pursue that. That was a huge hit, and we've had some other clients for whatever reason that had canceled. I'm not worried about it. We have a great foundation of awesome clients. There's nothing wrong.
It's just been a little surprising.
But yes, it has been surprising. But why do I bring that up?
Mm-hmm.
Well, what have we been investing in the most right now?
We've been doubling down on our marketing.
On marketing. Like we've been advertising. We've been spending more money than we've ever spent on advertising and marketing because we have to eat our own medicine. Like we understand what it feels like to maybe not be making as much money as you used to make, or maybe you don't have the same amount of volume coming in organically, right? Well, when you start going backwards, it wasn't my first inclination to cut marketing costs. It was, hey, let's go in on this and let's get some people coming through the door, and it's working because that's what happens when you. I've been heard it so that I want to say this the right way. The success of a business and the amount of sales that you make can best be determined by the amount of offers that you make.
Yes.
Right. So if
more offers,
yeah,
more opportunity.
Exactly. Right. So if you're a struggling urgent care and then you cut your marketing and you start telling less people about your business, you're going to get less people coming through the door.
Yeah.
And in the airplane world, we call this a death spiral. You spiral the plane, you overcorrect, and you spiral the other way. Next thing you know, you're in the ground.
Oh yeah,
right. It's just a death spiral. You keep cutting until you're in the ground, right? Yeah. So anyway,
it's a very strong. Yeah.
Keep
cutting until you're in the ground.
Yeah. The next thing you know, your business is dead, right? So everything in my body tells me cut expenses. But that's not the one that I'm cutting. You haven't heard me bring that up yet, have you?
No, it's more like, are we doing because I think what we've done, and we can give credit to Philip.
Yeah, Philip's awesome.
So Philip, he actually runs our Google ads and some of our Facebook ads as well. And he actually will be on a webinar coming up, by the way, which you guys have loved signing up for.
Shameless plug.
The shameless plug. We have a Google Ads webinar coming up toward the middle of April, and you guys have just started signing up. Like, we were very impressed with it so far. Anyway, but no, he's like, hey, I want to try this. Let's go for it. And we said, hey, man, Facebook ads is pretty bad for us as like an agency. Every time we run Facebook ads to try to attract these urgent cares, we get the wrong people, and it's been a mess. He's like, I think I can figure this out. We're like, okay. And so he's been running for a couple of weeks, and we've had multiple actual urgent cares.
Again, thank y'all for being responsive.
Yeah, thank you guys for interacting and saying, I do need some help. Let's chat a little bit. But yeah, now we're, because I was talking to Phil this morning. It's like, okay, we're getting closer to that point where I need to know where the budget probably needs to lean, because I know we don't have enough data yet to say it, but I know it's coming up. So, because I'm all about you tell me what you believe, and we're probably going to try it,
right,
and just see what happens, because I've been impressed so far. So let's just see if it keeps moving in the right direction. Also, as we noted, you guys don't like our faces at all. You'd rather look at Grace or Hannah or some other female on our team.
That doesn't hurt my feelings.
Well, we had Nick and I both. I think I gave Phil 10 videos.
Yeah, I gave him a bunch, 4 or 5.
I mean, we're probably 20 videos in with us, and then Grace does like 3 or 4, and boom, hers is 10x our impressions.
So guess who's doing them from now on?
Yeah, and then I guess who got voluntold.
That's right. All right, so another section where people try and cut costs is to just say, hey, we're going to grow this thing word of mouth. And I'm going to admit that word of mouth is the most cost-effective, best ROI form of marketing available, period, no questions asked.
It's the biggest convert. Like, if I have told you, hey, go so-and-so urgent care, the likelihood of you doing it's pretty high.
That's right.
Because the trust factor is very, very high.
Right. Right. There's a adverse effect to that too.
Yes.
Michael, I went to a restaurant the other day that you're talking about going to, and it's the worst place I've ever eaten. I got sick. Like, don't go there.
Oh,
Are you going?
I don't know. Oh, you're talking.
I'm just saying there's a reverse
I'm
side.
thinking like I thought I told you this actual restaurant.
No. I'm just saying in general, like I'm giving. Yeah,
like,
you're
there's
not.
no way
there's
I'll
no
go.
way, right?
The only way I would go if I forgot.
Yeah, exactly. So actually, oh man, Nick told me about this place.
Wait, is this the
Get on
place? Oh no.
Anyway, the whole point of the word of mouth thing is it is the best ROI.
Mhm.
It is the most effective. It is also the least scalable. There is absolutely you are living on a wish and a prayer when you try and build things word of mouth because there is no way to force it.
And it's so frustrating with word of mouth. It feels so effective up front.
Yeah.
Because I know we've been a startup. We've talked to many startups. That word of mouth, like, man, I could just talk to people. I just have people coming in the door. They know who I am, blah, blah. That's great. That lasts about maybe 6 months to a year.
Maybe, if you're lucky. If they try and pay you in pizza.
Yeah, right. And then it falls off because then you get busy and then it just starts falling because there's some intentionality behind everything. And at the end of the day, you don't of your patients or your customers that come through the door, very few are going to be cheerleaders for you. Unless it's negative, they'll
That's right.
happily cheer for your negativity.
That's right.
Yeah,
they love that too.
Yes, they do. It's especially in urgent care space.
Ask how people feel about Tesla right now.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Like
that went from like driving the electric like revolution to now they want to burn that company.
Literally burn the vehicles.
Yeah, so that's how fast people can turn on your brand, right?
Yeah, and then they won't. And forgetting it will take a long time.
Yeah, both ways.
Yeah, the recovery of it will take a while.
All right, so some final thoughts on this, and then we'll wrap up. So first of all, good advertising isn't a cost; it's a revenue engine. It's a revenue engine. This is like once you figure out that it costs roughly around $20 to acquire a new patient with digital advertising done right. Once you realize that, then you have a revenue engine.
Yeah.
Let me tell it this way, Michael, if I knew without a doubt exactly what it costs to get a Facebook lead that was a qualified lead for urgent cares to do business with us,
right?
Like once I figure that out, bet how much money I'm gonna put into that.
Exactly.
Right? Because now I have a predictable revenue engine.
Yeah, because
right?
And then it goes back to targeting, right? Or
Right.
target. So like if you're saying, all right, we really like having 3 to 5 urgent cares coming in our door every month, and we'll say it cost us $200 to get that urgent care to talk to us and convert.
Right.
So we're talking about we're going to have to spend at least $2,000 to $2,500 to $3,000 to $3,000 a month to maintain that type of influx.
That's right.
Which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, and if it's consistent, it should work. Is it going to be perfect? No, but there's averages. You look at the averages and say, because like one thing the urgent care struggle with, they like to look at patients per hour, which is one thing, patients per day, which is another, and then overall patients for the month. Well, you really it's hard to judge something by a daily because there are other factors involved. Because even right now with our Facebook ads for ourselves, like we see nothing, and boom, three leads in a day,
right?
For no good reason. There's nothing consistent about that other than the algorithm may have just shifted. And so in the urgent care space, you look at your patients per day, which we do talk a lot about, but you got to look at the average. You can't say, oh, I had 10 patients today, but I had 60 the next day. Well, cool. That probably averaged out to probably 35. Imagine that. So I think people forget about that. So I do encourage you, when you're keeping up with your metrics, look at the averages. If you look at individual numbers, it's not going to give you the real picture. But.
Love it. Every dollar should give you dollars back.
Yep.
We talked about that, putting $1 in, getting $2, $3, $4, $5, $6 back. Right?
And that's outside of marketing. Like even the people you hire, if I pay somebody $50,000, they should be returning to the business $75,000, $100,000 worth of value, and that either be actual revenue or just like the flow of the company, like increasing its capabilities.
That's right.
So I think people forget about that because there are some things you buy that you can't make $1 off of because that's just what it is. Like furniture is one of those things. Like you could either spend expensive furniture or cheap furniture. Does it make the impact that you think it should?
That's right.
Because we even talk about like these chairs we're sitting in right now. We didn't pay for these things. They were basically handed to us on our last move. And these jokers are like $600 a chair.
And they're not even good looking chairs.
They're not even good looking chairs,
They're the
but we
weirdest.
didn't pay for them. But like, these are conference room chairs. Where's the value in that?
That's right. I know.
So like, because everything's got a balance, right? And but yeah, I think at the end of the day, when you're making hires, you're paying for marketing, all these things. These are things that have to make you money. Because the worst thing in the world is when you hire an employee that costs you $50,000, and they're not doing anything but costing you more money beyond that. Because that's a real thing too. So anyway, it's hard to think about things that way, but you have to, at the end of the day, say, are these the smart investments? Because they are investments ultimately, not just expenses.
That's right.
So.
Some investments make money, some investments lose money. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
Right. So bad advertising is freaking expensive.
Yeah.
Right. And I think this is where the rub really comes in, right? For urgent care clinics or any business in general is maybe you've done it wrong. Maybe you hired somebody and they did it wrong.
Yes.
Right. Maybe you hired somebody in-house and they did it wrong. Or they were ineffective, or they didn't do it long enough, or you name it, right? You name the reason. I'm sure you can find some kind of a stamp that you can put on there that said this sucked, right? The problem isn't that the marketing didn't work; it's that it wasn't done correctly.
Yes,
right. And we talk about some things, especially with like Google Ads. We talk, and we'll talk about this again. Like greed will kill you, and what I mean by that is. Trying to use every single keyword you can possibly think of because you have vanity on your mind. I just want to see my clinic show up in every kind of search possible, and Google is going to swallow your bank account.
Yeah.
Right? Because you didn't think through what keywords actually will generate new patients coming into your business, and instead you paid for all of them.
Well, and we have like
go to the grocery store and buying everything.
Well, and like we have clients right now that in the urgent care space where we tell them, urgent care near me, that type of keyword is core. Like it's going to be generating the majority of your patients, no matter how you cut it at the end of the day. And then we start adding on these additional services like pediatric or STD testing or immigration physicals. The costs generally go higher, and you have to be conscious of that because if you're trying to look at an overall picture of what your budget is, we even tell people if they give us like an ad spend budget, we'll say $1,000. We're going to tell them like 75% plus has to go to urgent care.
Right.
Oh, you want to add an immigration physical? You really need to give us more budget just for that because we can't disrupt the apple cart that's carrying all your leads right now.
That's right.
So, and I think people tend to forget that, where they start swapping in stuff and just expect the numbers to just grow accordingly. It just doesn't work that way.
That's right. You're right. Another thing is just trying to gather everybody in the whole city. That's another thing that reason maybe your marketing isn't effective is because you're trying to touch everybody, right?
Yes.
And that's a problem.
And my favorite thing when we would ask somebody, especially in our legacy accounts, who's your target market? Everyone.
Yep.
It's just not.
Sounds like every realtor I've ever met.
I serve everybody.
Yeah.
You don't.
What makes you different? We answer our phone.
Oh, yeah.
Right, we're done. Bye.
No. What makes you different? Customer service.
That's it. That's right.
Like, no,
everybody
sorry.
has had that. Or we've been in business for 50 years. Nobody cares.
Or we have, my favorite is that we have over 100 years of experience.
Combined experience. It's like 8 12-year-olds.
Yeah. That's funny.
There's another thing is just not, and this will be the last point, then we can wrap up, is just that you're not spending the right amount of money. I like the movie Lord of the Rings. I don't know if you like that or not.
Yeah.
But there's Bilbo Baggins says, I feel like butter spread over too much bread.
Yeah.
And
it's real.
I feel thin, spread out. Like I'm not making any difference because I have butter, but I've got a massive piece of bread, and it's just I'm not reaching any of the rest of the bread.
We'll never notice the butter.
Same thing with the Google ads. Same thing with SEO. Same thing with Facebook ads. I want to spend $50 a month, and I want 50 new clients from that. Yeah, you're not going to talk to the first one.
Well, it's even because we do tell people when you start running ads and you stretch out your budget.
That's right.
And when you start stretching it out, like the effectiveness is so low because it's only going to show that ad X amount of times. Like, because when you look at like daily budgets and things like that, like it tells you, hey, you're about to run out of money. Hey, you're about to run out of money.
Yep.
Like it's borderline more effective if you only had $100 to dump $100 in a 2-day period versus a 20-day period.
Oh yeah, or don't do it
Or
at
just
all
don't
until
do it
you
at
have
all.
the money.
And then we even tell people you burn money at certain thresholds.
Yeah.
Because it's just they're just going to burn, the platforms will burn it, and then the return is next to nothing because it's just there to burn basically.
Here's another way that budget spread looks too, and this is what I've heard a lot just being in the marketing industry is, all right, Nick, I'm paying you to do Google ads, but I want you to do Facebook ads. I want you to build us a new website, and I want you to do all of our SEO, but I don't want to pay you any more money. It's funny, but think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want my budget. I just want more.
Yeah.
I just want more.
For the same amount.
For the same amount of money. And listen, I get you. I understand that. But here's, I want, you're at 20 patients per day. I want you to take on 60 patients per day, but I only want you to get paid for 20.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't make sense to you. It doesn't make sense to us. And it doesn't make sense to Google when you want to spend less money or spend the same amount and get more money. Think about that. Yeah. You're asking Google to deliver 10 times this amount of leads for the same amount of money. Mm-hmm. They're a business too. Well, Facebook is a business too.
I think about, because we had this scenario come up where there was like, I want you to do more for less.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay. And,
I remember that. And that's been recent.
Yeah, very recent. And then the response, like, I'm a slow thinker. My response should have been, well, okay, I'm going to come in as a patient, and you told me it's $200 for the X-ray, but I want an STD test, an X-ray, and a physical for $100.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do that? What are you doing wrong?
Yeah, exactly.
So it's just like,
you're overpriced.
Just turn the table and say, well, this sounds really ridiculous a little bit, doesn't it? Anyway, we're going to a rant real quick before we mess everything up, but just saying at the end of the day, advertising can be free if it's done effectively because you can see the ROI come from it. So.
Exactly. So I want to encourage y'all to really think about where you're spending your dollars and how you're spending your dollars, not how to cut your dollars. That's not, the goal isn't to cut your marketing. It's to make it more effective and to get an ROI. And if you're, again, I'll go back to Google and we'll talk about this in a webinar. So go register for that. But if you're not seeing $10 or less on a cost per conversion or $20 in your cost per acquisition, like patients coming through the door, that's an area that we could probably help you out with. So with that, Michael, man, another good episode.
Down low.
Yep.
Down low.
Yeah, well, we'll get used to the site. Hopefully it doesn't look too much different for y'all. But
we may be going back up. We don't know.
Yeah, we'll see. Don't ever want to miss an opportunity to say thank you for listening. I hope you get value. If you do, share it with somebody. And also leave us a review. We'd like to know what you think about what we're doing. All right, cool. Subscribe.
See ya.
Go subscribe. Do it. Why are you still here?
That's actually impressive you're still here.
Go subscribe.